we'll get back. We'll get back to the bops in just a second, but I want to make sure you all have an opportunity to drop the LinkedIn. I see a few of them going in the chat. If you have a specific ask, okay, if you have, let's say, a skill that you want endorsements for, best practice is to have 3 top skills, okay? So if you have 3 top skills that you want us to endorse you for, drop those in the chat when you drop your LinkedIn in there, okay? So I see they are rolling in. Make sure you connect with each other. So a couple quick tidbits that we can start with. For one, look at your profile picture. Do you still look like that? Yes or no? I'm not going to verify. This is a moment of self-reflection. Do you still look like that? Yes or no? That's all I'm going to say. If you have a more updated picture, now is the time to add it. You want to look warm, inviting, excited for new opportunities. For those of us who plan on exiting in, let's say, the next 6 months, keeping your LinkedIn up to date will lessen the reaction from your current coworkers and your boss. So, that is key. You all, I'm sure, have seen your coworkers where all of a sudden their LinkedIn looks completely different and they start taking off days at work. We know that they're interviewing. Okay, we can put 2 and 2 together. So keep your LinkedIn up to date all the time. If you have a more current picture, go ahead and change your picture today. Look warm, inviting, like you want to engage, okay, with people on the platform. That's not necessarily an indicator that you're looking for a new job. So go ahead and make that change. Let's take a look at our skills section. Identify 3 top skills that you want people to endorse you for on LinkedIn. So if you are a marketer, I know we have a mixed crowd today, but if you have a marketer, think about your niche. Like, what is your specialty? Is it digital marketing? Is it SEO? What are the skills that are going to signify to a recruiter that this is the person I want for my job? When you have those 3, drop them in the chat so we can go and endorse you for those skills. Also, let's take a look at whether we are open to work or not. So in your LinkedIn settings, you want to check to see if you have indicated that you are open for work. I will show my, I will actually show y'all my LinkedIn because family time, right?
I want to see it, Chastity.
It is, it is not as juicy as it could be, but here's my picture. I look like that, right? So y'all can do a side by side and determine if I pass my own test. I still look like that. Oftentimes, if I take my natural hair out and I'm wearing my natural hair for a while, I may change my picture to one that has my natural hair. So I changed my profiles on like GroupMe and some of the other platforms because I was wearing my hair out. More often than not. So this is a section what you are open to. Edit job preferences. Now I would encourage you to go in and change this. So this is your private section, right? It talks about the types of job titles that you are interested in, and this is often a section that people do not update regularly. So remember, when you get a new job and you level up, go back in and change this because you may have been a manager or like an individual contributor before, moved to a manager role. All right, if you are now looking for director roles, this should have changed. Once you reach that management role, you need to go back in and change that. And then this, of course, affects your privacy. So if you're sharing this with recruiters only, people who use the LinkedIn recruiter profiles can see that. Leave. Yes, I'll close this. The open to section. This is where you let people know if you are interested in being hired, if you are open for work. So please make sure you keep that available. Alrighty, so those are the basics. I would encourage you, if you have not already changed to a a URL that has your name in it, please do so. That makes you searchable on Google. Always keep in mind that recruiters and potential employers will likely Google your name. They will likely Google your email address. And you want to be cognizant of what they find when they get there. Okay. So, Google yourself, perhaps that's a good step. Google yourself and see if your own LinkedIn page comes up. All right. And I have,
Cassie, I have a question for you.
yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to be in moderator mode, but I can't help myself. Question for you. So recently, me and you both volunteered with a group that specializes in helping students get kind of like students that didn't take a traditional educational path. They've been coaching these students on like their LinkedIn. With that, a lot of those students, at least in my session, I don't know about yours, but they didn't know about what profile picture to use. So some of them still had like graduation pictures. Do you have any thoughts, ideas, best tips on students that, you know, they want that real corporate job, but maybe they don't have the money to get the sexy headshots. Maybe they don't know at what point you should have graduation pictures versus, hey, this is me as a professional. So can you talk a little bit more about your advice there?
Yeah, I personally am not a fan of the graduation picture. I understand why some people do it because it signifies that you are likely looking for your first job. You know, that's evident if you have a graduation picture. My recommendation would be to put on a nice, clean, crisp shirt. People aren't really doing suits anymore, so that's not necessary to have a traditional headshot with you in a suit. But put on a nice shirt, a nice blouse, a nice dress. Give the people a power pose. Set up your ring light just like you would do for the gram and take that picture. If it needs to be polished a bit more or edited, Fiverr is very cheap. All my friends know that I swear by Fiverr. You can go on Fiverr and get someone to edit your photo for $7, you know, maybe even five. I think $5 is the minimum. And then you'll have a nice, clean profile picture. It is important to look polished because, again, although you are a student, companies are looking for growth potential. And you want to demonstrate that with the seriousness of your LinkedIn profile. So curate your LinkedIn profile more than you would curate any other social media platform. Um, with the understanding that the recruiter will probably find you on all platforms. That is the tip for students. Understand that making your Instagram private does not mean anything. They will still see those images. We know your tweets will resurface when you are good and in your director level position. Those tweets will come back, but curate your LinkedIn, you know, make it nice. All righty, I have one more screen that I would like to share before we get back to BOPS, and then I'll take questions in the chat, specifics in the chat. All righty, so these are some power verbs. I strongly recommend that you go back through your job descriptions where you have provided us information about your previous roles and responsibility. Let's start using some power verbs. These are just some of them. I'll be posting some more on my Instagram the rest of the week, but we want to move away from like worked to complete or you know, started X, Y, and Z. You want to use some strong verbs, both on your resume and on your LinkedIn. So facilitated, steered, advocated, established, champion. I love, particularly if it's a cause, if you are active with like your employee resource groups, for example, or if you champion belonging in the workplace. I like to think of myself as a champion for belonging. If you work with DEI efforts, championed is a good word for you. Diagnosed indicates that you are capable of identifying opportunities, potential risks in the company. So diagnosed is a strong word. Lobbied. I'm a big fan of galvanized. To jump back up the list, I'm a huge fan of galvanized. I love when I see it used correctly, but you want to demonstrate influence. Okay, that is very important in today's workplace. People want influencers on social media, yes, but more so in a company. Not only are you capable of doing the right thing, you are capable of rallying a team to make a difference, to make an impact. So galvanized is a word that indicates that, mobilized, of course, and then lobbied as well. So all three of those are verbs that indicate you are a person of influence in your work circles. Engineered is a good one instead of built. You know, we like to say that we built a system or we created, but created is probably on every resume that comes across a recruiter's screen. So let's move past created. Let's engineer. Let's initiate. And consolidate. It may indicate that you consolidated programs which yielded a savings. Um, so these are some power verbs that we can keep. I will keep this screen up when we get back to the box so that when you're going through your description, you can see, okay, yeah, I can sub out advocate for this, or I can sub out expedited for this. I have yielded there last because yielded is arguably one of the most important words on this list because they need your results. Okay, they need receipts. They need to know what you have done. So without providing proprietary information, of course, you want to quantify your impact. So if you are yielding 20% growth, you know, a 20% reduction in the case of savings, indicate it on your LinkedIn so that they see impact. Your LinkedIn should not mirror your resume exactly. You want to give more of a story on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your opportunity to tell what is not represented on your resume. So if your resume says, these were my duties, you know, and this is what I accomplished, LinkedIn gives a little flavor. LinkedIn gives you a little seasoning there. So we want to talk a lot about impact. We want to talk about lessons learned in some cases, and think about how what's on your LinkedIn could segue to a discussion in your interview. So we want the recruiters to be able to say like, oh yeah, you know, can you tell me a little bit more about this? And you are prepared to speak to it. So again, your LinkedIn is a tool. It is another tool in your toolbox, but I know we have some recruiters in the house today, and I'm sure they will tell you that they are knee deep in LinkedIn during their peak season. So we want to see y'all win. We want to see everybody rich in 2022, preferably rich by the end of this year. You still have time to be rich this year. I want to call that out. You have time to be richer, okay, by the end of the year. And we want to see that for you. So with that, if you have not already dropped a link to your LinkedIn in the chat, please do so. If you have specific skills that you would like to be endorsed for, please tell us that. If you have a post that you want to see do numbers for those of us generating content on LinkedIn, drop that. And if you have any questions, so I will be here along with a fire playlist. But I'll be here to take your questions in the chat. But with that being said, we want to work this session. Normally we talk, you know, normally we have dialogue, but this session, we want to get these LinkedIns done. Okay. So with that, we can get back to the box.
Let's do it. And Chastity, I had a question. I don't know if any brave souls on here, if you need, I mean, we have the Queen Chastity here. I'm just saying we have a few recruiters here. So if anybody wants to be using this working session and share a screen and you know, show us those updates that Chastity just said to make, maybe this is a time where you can, you know, not have to pay a consulting fee and get some extra help. But then we want you to pay the consulting fee to get the deeper help. So if anybody is brave enough to come off mute and share their screen, we can update this bad boy in real time. So we're going to go ahead, like Chastity said, and get this music going. But I'm just saying, you can share your screen if you want some real time help, and then follow up with Chastity, worknetworktwerk.com, and book that session to make sure all your documents are personally looked at by her and fixed and upgraded. So don't forget worknetworktwerk.com to get on Chastity's schedule. All right.
Yeah, one of my clients is on the call, and she knows I do follow-ups. So when you get that action plan at the end of my session, I'm logging in to check your LinkedIn to see if the progress has been made. I will hold you accountable. So I expect the same from this group today. I will be logging in to check on y'all. So keep dropping those links in the chat.
Chastity, one, can y'all hear my music? Can y'all hear the music? Okay, Chastity, we got a question in the chat from Michelle. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn Premium? Is it worth the cost?
It is when you are actively in the market. So many people know you get a 30-day free trial with LinkedIn Premium. So if you have not used your free trial, I recommend using it around the time that you want to get in the market. So if you plan to attend, let's say like National Black MBA Conference, where you know you will probably get a lot of traffic to your LinkedIn, like right before the conference and right after, I would use my 30-day free trial around that time. But you can cancel anytime LinkedIn Premium. So again, if you are in the market now seeking to have a position before, like, let's say end of January, I think it's worth it to go ahead and get premium for this month in December and maybe January, depending on when you receive that job. You want to know who's looking at your profile. Pro tip, when you see that people are looking at your profile from a particular industry or from a particular company, go in and read a lot of job descriptions from that company, not just the one that you're interested in applying to. Read other job descriptions as well so you can hear the power verbs that they use. I hate to just say copy and paste, but let's keep it real. If they're saying they're looking for someone who can facilitate certain actions, then you know that facilitate is a word they identify with. So you can easily start to match your profile to the companies that are interested in you. I saw a post on Instagram the other day that said F with the people that F with you. And that's what LinkedIn Premium enables you to do, because you see who's looking at your profile.
Oh, y'all coming through with the real questions. Chastity, I have skills that were heavily endorsed that were more relevant to previous roles. Should I leave them on my profile? Also, how do I get current skills voted up?
I would say you can leave them, leave them there, but reach out to people and let them know the skills you would like to be endorsed for now. So, even if it's, I hate to say it, this is a bit of a cheat code, but even if it's your friends, even if you get in a group text and say, hey, like, this is the type of work I've been working on and I want to be endorsed for these skills, please consider it. Closed mouth don't get fed. So people are going to endorse you for the skills that they see at the top if they think that's what you want. If you have 60 endorsements for this particular skill, but you are leaning toward a role that requires a skill where you only have 3 endorsements, I mean, human behavior, people are going to see that 60 and assume that's what you want. So be very vocal with your LinkedIn connections about the skills that you have acquired. I don't know how I feel about those blanket posts when people just post to their entire LinkedIn network, like asking for an endorsement. But I think it's definitely fine on a one-on-one basis. If you complete a project, and you know how people always say at the end of a project, like, oh, let me know if there's anything you need. You know, like, I really enjoyed working with you. Let me know if there's anything you need. Tell them, you know, well, I'm glad you feel that way. And I'm really working on my LinkedIn endorsements for this particular skill because I want others to know I'm competent. Would you mind endorsing me? So that is my recommendation for handling the skills endorsements. You can reorder them too, though. LinkedIn has a few different profile formats. I will tell y'all that. Like, I have the creator one, so my settings are a little bit different. But you can reprioritize the way your skills are shown in that section. We can't hear the jam, Sequoia. Sequoia. Sequoia, we can't hear the jams.
I heard something.
We can't hear the jams. That's what I was telling you.
Oh, I don't know why.
I think if you go on mute, we can't hear it.
Oh, okay, got it. Let me turn y'all up. My bad.
I'm getting money, yeah. I've been saying they shit funny, yeah. I get that back and I blow that, yeah. Say you get money, then show that, yeah. This the cute money, not Kodak, yeah. Watch where you bringing your hoe at, yeah. Niggas ain't fucking with me. Rest the same color my teeth. I signed a deal with the plug. He sent the box every week. Used to get paid off a scale. Now all I need is a beat. Bitches wave, I barely speak. This coupe came with no backseat, and I ain't drove it in weeks. Y'all play football in the grass. We play football in the streets. Yeah. I pull it right up on her, swept it right off of her feet. Yeah. Told you better swallow that shit. Don't get it all over my seats. Bitch, this a Bentley, respect it. 200 racks on the necklace. I like my money real neat. Just like I like all my freaks. You said you fucking with me. I'ma just sip my little tea. Yeah, you know that. She let me fuck her for free. She charge her ass a fee. You know that. Fuck her on top of the cover. Then I still change the seats. I changed my wrist costs a quarter key. My wrist costs a quarter key. Yeah. I keep the game with me. Cause they gon' bang for me. Yeah, I saw my ass out in public. You do the same shit if you came from nothing. I made it out, niggas say I got lucky. I'm doing my thing, only God can judge me.
Hey, y'all, so my mentee, Soleil, she's wonderful. She's gonna share her screen. Y'all, let's help Soleil out. She is a brand new marketer, recently graduating from Year Up, as well as, it's Savannah State, right, Soleil? I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Yes,
another HBCU grad. She's here between Jacksonville, Florida, and Atlanta. So let's help this Black girl out with her LinkedIn presence. She stood out against all her other classmates, and now she's my mentee, and I'm so proud of everything she's doing. So Soleil, you should have sharing privileges if you want to go ahead.
Okay.
And then Ray, we're gonna, if y'all see Ray's ask in the chat, she's asking for y'all to upvote her UX, information architecture, and user interface design on LinkedIn. So if y'all can do that for our girl, that'll be great. Krista has also endorsed her live here and said, or excuse me, not Krista, Chasity, and said that Ray's UX workshop is super legit. And she's, I mean, it's definitely legit because she works at, she's a professor over at Georgia Tech now. So let's get that upvoting going, and Soleil, we're ready whenever you are.
Okay. Okay, here's my screen. I actually just started my LinkedIn when I started the Europe program. So this is my first ever LinkedIn account. So whatever they told us to do is literally what I have on my LinkedIn. So bear with me. So this is what it looks like so far.
Okay, have you you have graduated, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I see it there. Okay. All right. So the picture that is in your background, is that of your current area?
That's the actual college. Like, that's the background of the Savannah State.
Oh, okay. Do you intend to stay in that area or would you like to relocate?
Relocate.
Okay. What city are you thinking about?
Well, right now I'm currently in Atlanta.
In
So
Atlanta.
probably, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I would recommend that you may want to choose another background picture.
Okay.
Just one that might start a conversation, or it's okay if you don't have a background picture. And
Okay.
okay, Carla checking in the chat with she would probably delete recent grad. Um,
Hold on. I put, is it recent grad is, where's that?
Recent grad, I'm seeing it in your about section.
Oh,
And
okay.
just
Yeah.
to pop in, like, just from a hiring perspective, like, we'll see that you graduated, we'll see the year that you graduated from school, but it's all in the way that you present yourself. Like, you don't need to tell everybody, I'm fresh out of school. Everybody gonna read that and see, oh, she's entry level. But you never know. You could get something based on your experience that's a little bit more than entry level. Anything recent grad, that just tells people that they're gonna lowball you. They're gonna lowball you with this salary. So let's start at the gate. You can say graduated such and such a year, but avoiding language that you don't need to minimize or juniorize. I know that's not a word, I just made it up, but don't juniorize yourself. That's all I mean.
Okay.
yeah, that was a great call out. Because although you are a recent grad, we are confident that you are prepared to enter the workforce, right? So that is what you want to project, that you are an asset, whether you graduated yesterday or, even if you hadn't graduated yet, you are an asset and you have something to offer. So we want to lead with that.
Okay.
I think too, like, I tell people all the time, especially if you're kind of new to LinkedIn. Chastity spoke about Google and how to get that SEO ranking. Don't forget, you don't have to put everything in your about section. You can show who you are just by interacting with certain content on LinkedIn, just like any other social media. So if being a recent grad is important to you, or an HBCU grad is important to you, something me and Chastity do and don't even plan, she always likes anything about Southern University. I like it because she's liked it, right? But now I can see that Chastity's passionate about Southern University, HBCUs, and things like that. And that doesn't take up that valuable real estate on her LinkedIn page. But if you look at what she's engaging with, you can still draw the same conclusion. So you can go through the thought leadership route so that your LinkedIn has the most valuable real estate ever and go that way. So I think all of these recommendations are great. See, so come on, girl, get it together. Come on, we ready for you, honey. Let's do it.
So this was like the about thing that they wanted us to have. So that's why it's kind of just, I kind of just threw something together for like the assignment to be done. But I do feel like I need to update it. So I didn't know exactly what should be on my about, or should I just do like probably like words that describe me, or like more of like a
Mm-hmm.
or
Words
bio.
that describe you and your experience and what you have to add to any organization. So I'm skimming forward and you speak again. And like, girl, everyone does this. My old profile was all about, I just graduated and I'm good enough. Please hire me. That was my tone. I've learned through experience that we speak like I'm the shit and you're lucky to hire me, basically. Like, we want to speak to the skills that you bring to the table. So even the sentence, during my undergrad years, I became proficient. We're just gonna write, I am proficient in the Adobe Creative Suite, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you speak to your skills. We don't have to speak about school. We're done with school. It's real life.
And keep in mind that you may look at other LinkedIn profiles where people use, like Carla just shared, where they say, I am proficient. You may have made the assumption that they gained that proficiency over years of working in that field. And realistically, they may have just gotten proficient in that skill as well. So
Right.
I do not want you to question, your proficiency based on assumptions about somebody else. Because if I acquire a skill today, I'm telling y'all, I'm doing a training at work for crucial conversations. It's basically like how to have tough conversations at work. And the day I hit 100% on that module, I promise I'm writing an article about it. Y'all gonna see it. It will be posted that afternoon. So, Soleil, just keep that in mind when you see other people's profiles. They are coming from a place of confidence that Carly just said, but that confidence is not necessarily built over time or based on 10 degrees and 35 certifications. It is
Yes.
it is a finesse. So be confident.
Chastity, I can definitely speak to that. I graduated, I forgot when I graduated from college for a minute. I graduated in 2016. Honestly, some of the skills that I had, I was learning as I go. But honestly, as long as I knew the basis of what I was talking about, it really helped me get into rooms because honestly, they're going to teach you anyway. I hate to be that person. But even in the role I'm in now, I still don't know. I'm a cuss. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing sometimes. I'm good at it. But when I have to pop into Excel, I cry. Like I cry every time. But to anybody else, I'm an Excel warrior because I'm learning as I go. I know Excel more than somebody. As long as you know a little bit more than somebody, you'll be a-okay.
And Soleil, I would recommend because it will be challenging to like redo your entire profile on the spot. So I think a good like homework assignment, if you will, would be to go and read some other profiles, but based on positions that you're interested in. I think that's really like the first step is let's, kind of think about the type of roles that you would like. Um, I know Sequoia mentioned in marketing. So then we try to almost back into the key information that we put on the profile. So, we can spend some time reading through some other profiles, finding some people at companies where you are interested in, and then see the type of verbiage that they use, the type of formatting that they use. And then that may help us be more comfortable about what to put on your profile, or what edits to make.
I have a quick question in regards to her profile. I know when I was first starting out, they recommended on the role I took post, even if it was an internship, to kind of slide like the intern out of it post college. Would you recommend that? Like positioning as it's not like an internship, but like I don't know how to really say it without sounding crazy. Sorry, y'all. But like positioning as, yeah, I'm a portfolio associate, but not really telling recruiters that this is an internship. So when she's going into a real role, they don't lowball her. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question.
I think that's a great idea. My thing, I would leave intern if it's at a company that internship really showcases an incredible
Mhm.
opportunity, like it's a rock star enterprise brand. You go ahead and say intern, but if you just was getting using intern to you intern somewhere to just to get your skills up, yeah, I don't know about that. Like you can slide that part off. I'm fine with the associate piece. Like we learned a lot. And I'm also a big fan of editing your resume. Like if you get to a certain point and you have better experience, like I don't know, and other folks who are further along in their careers, y'all help me if I'm wrong here, but like I edit things that don't I feel like won't help me further along. Like if I stayed at a spot for I freelance for 6 months at some rinky dink spot, but I have a better position that I ended up in later down the line. Like, why do I need to say that? You know what I mean? Because I feel like it just makes it longer, but it's not really telling the story that someone previously mentioned that your LinkedIn resume should do.
Yeah, it's not added value. And I think the only reason to include internship is with the time frame. So
Mm,
Yeah.
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
people get a question, well, why were you at this place for 2 months if you took intern off? Um, the one that's 4 months, I think you could include intern in the description.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's currently what
yeah.
I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my current internship.
Yeah.
They told me because I'm still in the program, I don't graduate until December, not December, January 2022, that we have to keep intern in it because it's through the program, it's not through the actual company.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, so like part of your Europe contract.
yeah, it's this
Okay.
part of my year contract to have let them know that I'm interning at the company, but I'm doing it through my program.
So then,
So that's it. And then the possible if I get converted into the bank and stuff like that, then I'll be able to like.
But that's what I was gonna say about Europe, and this is not a nod at Europe at all, but because we are the Black Marketers Coalition, Europe is based off of very traditional corporate jobs. So when Chastity said earlier, I love what you said, Chastity, about as marketers, a lot of us, even at you work at a very traditional company, but because you're in marketing, it's just a certain swag we have and can have that corporate banking or corporate IT and those jobs that program has been developed around is not going to be a one-to-one. So I do agree, kind of like use your discernment, and there's ways to finesse that. So maybe you do have to put that in your profile, but do you have to put it in the actual job title? Because technically the job title may not have that on it, but it can be in the description. So that's one of those, you kind of got to use your discernment because your program is not designed for marketers. So that's just something, it's not your fault. It's just how the program, what it's for,
I would say if you have to have intern in the title, make sure that your description is written like a full-time role. So you can
Yeah.
So don't just rest on intern, like put what your actual roles, responsibility, and impact was. So if you had like a specific intern project where you had to develop your own X, Y, and Z, then write out that description so it's strong, like it was a full-time position. And then I think you'll be fine. I see in the chat, like Kayla says, I think it depends because as an MBA, we put intern on the resume and on LinkedIn. That is true. When I interned as an MBA, I had intern in there and I ultimately took a position at the same company. So it folded up into the title. So yeah, I do agree if it's intern at like a Fortune 25, people understand that those internships are basically just like shortened full-time assignments. They have very similar responsibilities. So that is a consideration.
Now I see something I wanted to talk about. Soleil, press see more on your second role. Not that one, sorry. The second one that was up at the top, brand, and yeah, press that. Now, this is something, Chastity, I know me and you work together through Work Network Twerk on getting people to quantify some data. Now I'm database, so y'all know I'm all about the numbers. Chastity, can you talk more about maximizing Soleil's time as far as putting a little more quantitative information here and how that might impact her interview, like her initial interview screener? Would you mind talking about that?
Absolutely. So as much as you can include quantifiable data, people want to see some numbers. They want to see it. So like, let's take a look at that first bullet point there on the Planet Oat. Hell of a Good and Bringham's brand team serving as brand intern directly communicated with clients and various agency departments. So that actually can be quantified. So we could say, you could really say managed communications for a client portfolio of X number of agency, or managed relationship with X agency partners, or just how many clients, client portfolio representing 25 brands or something like that. So that would be an opportunity to add some quantifiable data there. And it seems like a simple ask, but it can be very impactful. And then like that last bullet point, completed summer intern project, which was designing a holiday campaign for SC Johnson. If there's anything quantifiable about that campaign, if you can talk about budget, sometimes that's proprietary, so you can't. But if you can indicate impact, again, represent the client reach, anything like that, it helps a lot. And it's attention getting. When people see like $25 million, they read it, whether it has bearings on you getting the job or not. When people see numbers, they gravitate to the numbers.
And I want to add something that is like a big thing for me when I write resumes and just possibly actively interviewing now, maybe. Mary Jane, you didn't hear that, but I always say, like, make sure if you're going to use a bracket, like, thing to say, put as many details. So like use social media analytics tool called Infogee Atlas. You can just say use Infogee Atlas and put in parentheses social media analytics to analyze Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter data so that it reads like a little more cohesively. So remember when Chastity said that results driven, just think about like a sandwich. What did you do? How did you do it? What was the result? And then that makes like a complete sentence and a complete thought. And that way, when you get on that recruiting call, a good recruiter, because all recruiters are not made equal, a good recruiter, instead of them asking, well, what social media platforms were you part of? They will say, hey, I see that you used Infogee Atlas for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Can you tell me about the most impactful project you've done? Thanks, Angelica. I got a couple of those from you this morning, but a lot of that, if a good recruiter takes time to read, you're getting that valuable real estate to talk about your results and focus on that versus having to talk about the what, then the how, then the results. You wasted 15 minutes that you could have been interviewing them.
And let me get to a power verb. So this is an excellent one. Sequoia, I'm glad you called it out. Use social media analytics tool called Infogee Atlas. Let's go to leveraged Infogee Atlas 2, and then we're going to put the result.
Yes, 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 yes. That's it. That's it.
Leveraged rather than
Leverage. Okay.
okay. And then if they are familiar with Infogee Atlas, they know it's a social media analytics tool. So we're just going to say leverage Infogee Atlas 2, and then whatever you did with it, then you say, you know, what you did with it, preferably quantifiable. So if it was to enhance, to do X, Y, and Z, that's what you're gonna put. But we'll put
It was mainly I was collecting data for quarterly reports to
aggregating.
yeah.
You to aggregate quarterly data metrics.
Yeah.
To the chat to establish KPI efficacy. Let me tell you something. We got some adverbs for y'all and some adjectives.
Either way, we can put in a chat and I work with it.
Chastity, I wanted to ask you a question about, because I think one thing that I've seen on LinkedIn that's really powerful is, I think it's the subheadline. This is something we could look at her LinkedIn and see, and adding more about your expertise keywords. Like, I wonder how powerful it is to put college there, like the graduate piece, or to say like expert in, you know, certain keywords or phrases, like kind of stacking that a little bit. What is your thoughts on that?
I think that is an excellent call out. You know, people love their SMEs, right? Like their subject matter experts. And I'd say probably, I mean, we're living in a time, so maybe like 2 to 3 years ago, people would put like wizard behind everything to try to indicate that they were really good at something. I think wizard has gotten a little played, but I absolutely agree with indicating expertise either in the headline or in the about. I think many people focus too much on their current role and they make that introduction about their current role. So they say what they do in their, you know, current job, and I am guilty of that. I'm a customer experience specialist. Well, outside of my company, people don't know what that is, and I'm keeping it like now. But if another company is looking to hire me, specialist doesn't translate to what it would be at another company, or my previous manager role doesn't translate to what it would be at another company. So it is best to use that opening real estate, like Sequoia pointed out, to list what you are as an asset. So you are a subject matter expert in something, you are, you have expertise in blah, blah, blah. You have extensive management skills, you know, thought leader in the area of X, Y, and Z. That's another good one. So yeah, I think that is important. And again, think about your LinkedIn profile like your digital footprint in general. If people are Googling certain words, would you come up? If someone is Googling, you know, air quotes on that, if they are looking for an expert in X, Y, and Z, how would they find your profile? Would they find your profile? So yes, I absolutely agree. So we have, I think it says Savannah State alumna for the HUD headline. Yes.
I'm on mute. Am I right? I was saying, yeah, it shows that, and as I'm a current student, and then the last internship that I was in, I didn't get to update it to the current one that I'm doing now. So, but I really want to go more into, you know, advertising and marketing. So that's kind of why I left it. Not necessarily, only because like that's what my passion is. And I'm currently just trying to hurry up the program so I can get to that. So I don't know what any other tips that anyone else has on my LinkedIn. I feel like it's very just
And what we can do, Soleil, since you were so brave, you know, y'all that have been at our BMC calls know that we gift our people. I will gift you, the BMC will gift you your first session with Chasity for free, since you were so brave today. So Chasity, we'll talk offline on the logistics. Soleil, once we get those logistics figured out, we'll get you on her schedule. But thanks for being a brave participant. And you can really take that investment to really change what you're doing. Keep doing great. Those recruiters on the call, her name is not hard to remember. It's something about us S's, okay? So please reach out to Soleil if you are looking for entry-level talent within marketing and advertising, and know that within the next month or so, you'll look at a brand new profile, because Chasity Jones of Work Network Twerk will be making sure she's set on the right path. So congratulations, my dear.
thank you guys.
And Soleil, let me say this. You are off to a great start by being proactive. Okay. So I know that's Brittany's favorite word, proactive.
Proactive.
You are off to a great start by recognizing that this is something that you need to do. And so just by committing to curating your LinkedIn profile, you will see the benefits. So I am excited that we will get to work together on this, but you're off to a great start.
Thank you so much.
Also, Soleil, I put in the chat, and anyone else, I dropped a link. I work for an agency called Tenuity. There's a lot of Tenutions in here, so if you want to say woo woo in the chat, do that. But we have a lot of open roles, and we love working with like entry-level talent. So if you want to apply, just use my name as a reference. Would love to get you on in any way possible. Agency experience is fun, fast, and it'll introduce you to the advertising side.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, recommendations. That's what I'm talking about. These relationships, honey. That's what the BMC is about.
Brushes my mid-level shoulder off. There we go. You know.
You said you put the link in the chat.
And I can go ahead and just send it to you on LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
I would like to know who Brittany was private messaging this whole time. She thought she was.
I don't know. I'm a little embarrassed.
But yes, so please continue to update your profiles. I hope that your connections are blowing up. We had a really good group on the call today. So I hope you all were able to connect with each other on LinkedIn. We still have some more time. So I can pull up those power verbs again if anybody needs those, and we can do the bop and connect.
Yes. And y'all, Chasity, I can't say enough. Like this girl right here, I'm telling you, she'll change your life. I've talked quite at length at other conferences, and if y'all pay attention to, well, I know y'all pay attention. It's our power core. To these calls, I talked about my doubling my income. Chastity was part of that. So I'm telling you, her formula works. She is very well versed in everything, I swear. But she can really transform how you view, not just how others view your career, but really how you view your own career. I know we got House of Low on the call, and she talks about abundance in her new podcast. And it's really about starting within and hiring those right consultants and people to really take it to the next level. So worknetworktwerk.com, you don't have to ask Chastity when she's available. She already has her calendar there ready to book. I see we do have another question. Chastity, how have you all leveraged, and it looks like a question to you in the group, how have you all leveraged LinkedIn for speaking engagements and other opportunities? That's a great question, Ray. I mean, I personally use my thought leadership to book my I say controversial but professional stuff all the time. It's part of my personal brand as Database. Everybody's different, but I have been using I've been using a lot of liking other people's stuff, congratulating them, sharing my expertise on it. And that has gotten me some eyeballs. Yes, Devontae, that's money, power, respect. I'll run it back. Chastity, you've been doing a lot of speaking. How have you been using your LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I'll say I think LinkedIn is really good for building credibility. And I work for a very bureaucratic corporate entity. And my coworkers were not part of my social network at all. And then I chose to start engaging with them on LinkedIn. And I actually get more opportunities internally because they view my LinkedIn presence as credibility building. And it's like, wow, so she's doing all of this impactful work outside of our company. We need to give her a shot. So I'm actually moderating a chat tomorrow with an HR director because of the work that people have seen me do outside of the company. But that was basically a situation where, like, you won't give me a seat at the table. I will literally go to another table. It's not even bring a seat to your table anymore. I will go to another table. I will make a table over here. I will make some chairs and I will decorate it beautifully and, have tea and crumpets or whatever else I want to have at my table, catering, because it's lit over here. And so they're having a bit of that experience where they are watching me be a thought leader, well respected in every space except theirs. I like it that way. It has served me well. So that's the way I've been leveraging LinkedIn.
I love that. And Kayla, I think you said you were a career coach. She says being active on LinkedIn, she got an engagement through one of her homegirls liking a post, and they saw it from her and they hit her up. Like, it just works, y'all. We got 2 more minutes. Anybody got any more questions before we go into announcements? Because we got some real hot ones for you. Devontae, I ran this back.
Sorry, Coy. I was going to say one other idea for Ray's question with connecting with people that do events. I think it's finding people that put on events, especially these virtual events, because there's a lot of panels, and it's almost like one way that I've done it to get more speaking is to go to their events and then send them a private message that you enjoyed it and actually tout your skills and what your sort of thought leadership is, and say, I would love an opportunity to be a part of the next one. And you can even say like what your fee would be, because we don't really do things for free. My whole thing with the free thing is it's like, you could maybe do that if it was a smaller event that could lead to a more in-person event. Sometimes the virtual events, it's trickier, but I do think promoting yourself and offering what your thought leadership is, and ask, because a lot of these people do these events regularly, so, and they're always looking for more panelists or speakers or experts. So kind of being proactive in that way, I think, is a great way to kind of open up the channel for more of these opportunities and people to flow to you.
House of Low, every time. Y'all, we got one last question from Allie. How do you transfer nonprofit work into experience without data and analytics? And this Chastity's a career pivot queen, okay?
Yes, you write it out like a job description. So use the same power verbs, indicate your impact. Um, I understand not necessarily having like access to their data and analytics, or it being limited, but be creative with how you quantify. So it doesn't always come in the form of like a data feed that came to you or a report out, but if you can quantify the impact in any way, like if there was some work done and it benefited X number of families, or if you were like on the in-house marketing side or something like that, you can speak about those campaigns and still indicate that what the work that you did altered the trajectory of that entity. So that's always your narrative. Like, how did you being there alter the trajectory? And I mean, of course, you always want it to be positive, but that is what you are looking for, an impact statement and a narrative that you can carry with it. But there are a few people on this call who had like leadership positions in a nonprofit, and also for Soleil, that is a great way to get leadership opportunities that you may not get through traditional work. You can certainly be a committee chair because you are willing to do the work and do a good job, and then talk about it like it was a job, because it was.
Oh yeah.
You know, and if you're in the nonprofit sector where it is still a paid position, but you may not have, you know, it may not be as quant heavy, still always look for opportunities for how you can quantify or enumerate responsibilities or talk about the reach of your work.
I love
Thank
that.
you so much.
Like, I just want to say thanks again, y'all. We are actually overtime per usual. But with that, we're overtime for a good reason. I hope y'all all took away these wonderful jewels from Chasity. We have officially, as of today, reached 1 year of If You Know, You Know. So congratulations, everybody, for hanging in for the past 12 months. My BMC board, thank you, each of you, each and every one of you on the board, for hanging in there for a year. We have a fire playlist that I'm going to drop in the chat right now of all the songs you have heard throughout the past year on If You Know, You Know. It's 4.5 hours. Listen to it. Y'all got 4 more hours in the work day today. Listen to it, jam out. It curses a lot, so do we. Jam out. It's a vibe. Share it with people. And do not forget, National Black Marketers Day is November 16th. We will be emailing you all a letter that you can use to talk to your boss about having the day off or recognizing it within your organization. And we also have a full week of activities where we are going to be doing some things here in Atlanta, our home flagship, in person, talking about brunch and everything. We're going to have our board members lead virtual events. You will see Chasity again talking about some burnout and how to avoid it. You'll hear from Brittany on some things for y'all younger generation, you know, her millennial self. You'll hear from the guys, Kenny Thacker and Kyle Perkins, more about where are the Black men in marketing and so much more. So y'all, the week of November 16th is about to be lit as fuck. We made a year of doing this bad boy, and we're going to celebrate our inaugural National Black Marketers Day, November 16th. And I look forward to seeing y'all. Chasity, you got anything else to close us out with, my girl, our host?
Oh, thank y'all. Y'all are awesome. This conversation was, I mean, very much y'all's participation. Okay, so I appreciate all the comments. I look forward to connecting. If you watch Insecure, you know where that came from. And here's to the riches. Okay, I love what Lauren said. They're flowing to us. They're flowing right through our LinkedIn, just the riches. Okay, so looking forward to all the new roles and higher salaries and new businesses. I can't wait.
All right, y'all. Well, if all hearts and minds are clear, see y'all the week of November 16th for a lituation, and visit worknetworktwerk.com to book your consultation with Chasity. Until next time, see y'all in 2 weeks. Peace out.